Tetragrammaton.
I was 21 or 22 when I got my second gold record, when you were born in '63.
Yeah. The second. What was the first?
Did you ever hear, well, if you go back historically, there's probably no history, but it really is. I was in a band. Phil Spector joined the band, and Sandy Nelson was a guy a couple years ahead of me in high school and out, and he knew I could play, and so I would kind of be in his band.
You played piano.
I played piano.
Yeah.
I, along with a guy named Richard Podler, who eventually produced True Dog Night.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Cozy Cole record called Topsy that was in the top 10 in the 58, 59. And so Sandy, whose name was Sam Nelson, he just got the idea, convinced this disc jockey. Do you know who Art LeBeau was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, convinced Art LeBeau, who had Original Sound Records. He had a hit with Preston Epps doing bongo rock, Mike Dacey on guitar. And so Sandy Nelson, talked Art LeBeau into a single, one-off, just not even an album. So we wrote this song kind of in the studio called Teen Beat, and it went to number 4.
Wow.
And
how old were you at that time?
I was probably 17.
17.
And Richard Podler and I kind of wrote it, but Richard Podler and I were so young, we didn't know as writers how to really ask for writer's credit. That's in high school. What did I know in high school?
Yeah. I want to actually listen to a little bit of it just because it's fun. There's different versions too, but a Sandy Nelson version is the first.
That's he re-recorded again because remember I said he got a singles deal.
Yeah.
Art LeBeau didn't get an album deal, so he went over and got a little money from Imperial Records and re-recorded it and put an album out, and that's before Let There Be Drums. But this is significant to me because all of a sudden, even though Spector asked me to play piano on To Know Him Is to Love Him, do you remember that song?
Of course.
Teddy Bears? He asked me to play piano on it, but I had a date, but I had a ride to her house, so I took that option. I do not regret it to this day.
Yeah, so you didn't plan to know Him As to Love Him.
I was supposed to, but at Gold Star, but I didn't go.
Yeah.
I went out on this date with the girl, which I thought to this day still was a better idea.
Describe the world at that time. Describe Los Angeles in what year is this? 1956, 55?
The whole 50s. I mean, it was Pat Boone's heaven. It was just Ozzy and Harriet. I mean, it was just...
had rock and roll happened on any level yet or not really?
It was, well, I went to this private school called Bel-Air Town and Country. Now it's called John Thomas Dye. It's a big deal, and it's too expensive. And one of the guys that worked there, I did a lot of jobs, and I was up there because I lived down the street. So I walked there on Saturday, and I ran into Talton, was his name, and he had a Chevy with a good speaker in it. And he said, "You want to listen to some music, Bruce?" Because he knew I was in the school music stuff. So he says, "Listen to this." So the station was called KGFJ that he got me to start listening to. And we're listening to KGFJ. Then I hear a group called the Robins. Lieber and Stoller, you know. Mm-hmm. This affected me, all Beach Boys before I knew. One day while I was eating beans and smoking Joe's Cafe, blah, blah. By the way, the blah, blah, the guitar, Barney Kessel.
Wow.
Barney Kessel.
Wow.
Playing that before he played on the first hit Liberty Records ever had, and it was Julie London, Cry Me a River.
Yeah.
So here I'm listening to pure rhythm and blues with Barney Kessel. And then the other white guys, Lieber and Stoller, writing it. Anyway, that's when I went, okay, I get it. I got it. And it changed my life.
Yeah. And did you like doo-wop in general?
Some of it was ignorant, the wrong way. Some of the white guys didn't know how to do it. Dion knew how to do it. The black singers were cooler, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. They sang it a lot better. But I love doo-wop. Okay, I'll tell you my story. So, I grew up west side of LA. My father was a pretty successful guy in business. And I went to private schools, all that stuff. I listened to a lot of music. And my parents, this is our new book just came out, our first book.
Great.
The Beach Boys by the Beach Boys. So I listened to all kinds of music. My parents played music throughout the house, 78 RPM. And
Was it really 78s in your home?
78. We had a big house. We had a big house in Santa Monica, then a bigger one in Malibu, and that had the 78 RPM. The LPs were just kind of starting to get recorded and released in, but we were still 78. But I was listening to South Pacific. I was listening to all kinds of things, So I was always around music. So that got me started. I heard a lot of Sinatra. Then I picked up again on Sinatra and he signed to Capitol, and Nelson Riddle started doing the arrangement. I'm slow dancing in the 50s. Eventually Johnny Mathis, but in the Still of the Night by the Five Satins, that was recorded in their church basement in Connecticut someplace, and the doo-wop stuff is pretty cool. I'm listening to one day on the radio, and this is now we get up to 59. This made me go in the music business completely because I loved all this stuff. I go to the Hollywood Bowl, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old guy with a white dinner jacket and sit in the box, all stuff, When I heard the Flamingos recording of I Only Have Eyes for You, I went, I'm getting in the music business. I'll figure it out. And I already had a fingernail in it, So that's kind of between listening to Elvis. My two favorite singers are Little Richard and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
So put everything I'm saying in a blender, and that's what's sitting before you now.
Yeah. Both Little Richard and Frank Sinatra are unbelievable.
And you know what's great with, and Ray Charles too, sometimes when they get a little intense in the singing, they were always too close to the mic and it would distort.
You hear the distortion.
I couldn't wait to hear that,
Yeah, the energy of it.
So I've been hooked forever. Also, I've been surfing since I lived in Malibu in like 1950, 51.
Wow.
I'd walk 5 houses up to the pier, and they'd have the paddle boards that you paddle to the race with the cork in it to Catalina Island. Well, they were also surfing those days. They hadn't gotten into the smaller wood boards before the foam boards. So I surfed down at Zoom all the time,
Amazing.
I'm totally into it. I'm not a prude. I just skipped drugs, alcohol. I just skipped all that stuff, So I'm sitting in front of you happily doing 150 to 180 concerts a year, happily going to the beach. I wish I would have worn a hat because I got some cancer in my ears. I had that taken off. So I've combined my sport, my music, and everything. And I hope people, when they read my story, will realize you can start here as a baby guy and be the me guy and not be retired.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Well,
you do it because you love it, clearly.
Oh, God. I do it for free.
Yeah. You love it, of course.
It's not like I ever even said, well, come on down to my house. We'll make this track. We'll pay. I don't care about that. Yeah. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah, it feels so good. It's thrilling.
It is thrilling.
Yeah.
And here I am, I'm probably 20 years older than you, 21 years. I'm still hooked.
Yeah.
I don't need drugs.
It doesn't get old.
I don't need alcohol. I just need the music. I don't write a lot, but when I write, home run. After the other 999 songs go in the wastebasket that no one sees.
Tell me about the world of surf music before the Beach Boys.
So the music for surfing, remember the woolen sack recorder, little recorder?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you got to look it up. The fidelity was great. You could record on it. It was mono.
It was like a portable recorder.
Yeah, portable recorder.
Yeah.
It was like the Ampeg 601 that Jan Berry used for Jenny Lee. Did you ever hear that? Bow, 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 Jenny Lee and Baby Talk. Okay, but
Did you go to school with him?
Yeah. I lived down the street from Jan and Dean. It was Jan and Arnie because Dean went into the 6 months army and then came out. So Jan would come down to my house and play doo-wop in the morning at 7:30. And my father would always throw him out of the house. Jan, please just stop that racket. So he'd go up to the top of our driveway and we'd wait for the bus and he'd do my algebra homework on going to University High School. So yeah, we all knew each other and everything. Okay, now back to surf music. The guys that started like Bruce Brown, for instance, those kind of guys, eventually got very successful with surfing films. They would have their woolen sack recorder And this is before surfing soundtracks. They make up their own soundtrack, but it was more like Chico Hamilton, West Coast jazz, and they'd narrate the film as they'd play the music. The guys were really young guys. They'd probably never been exposed to jazz, but they dug the surf, and they get high school auditorium at night, on a Friday or Saturday night. So they made their own soundtracks up. But they were Pacific Coast jazz. But somehow, somewhere, some unintentional surf music snuck in. Walk Don't Run by the Ventures. Started sneaking into the soundtracks.
When you heard Walk Don't Run, was there already such a thing as surf music or no?
No, it was jazz.
It was jazz.
It was like late 50s jazz, kind of
cool jazz.
Cool jazz, baby.
Yeah.
So, but somehow that snuck in, and the audiences just flipped out. All of a sudden, it's something where they could pick up a guitar and play it. People would learn that stuff. And all of a sudden, there's 20 surf bands, and
But it was inspired by the surf movies.
Surf movies.
That's amazing.
I
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh.
That's great.
I was asked to play in a session, Sandy Nelson, and I played on it. And so I was in the band for one night. It turned out to be the first intentional surf recording ever made.
Wow.
It was called Moondog, D-A-W-G.
I
I feel like I'm tutoring you.
You are. That's why we're doing this.
Okay, Moondog by the Gamblers.
Okay.
Go look it up. And the backside was LSD. That I don't know if that was for the drug or not, but it was released on Pacific Jazz Records. I'm playing the high piano and doing the hour. Yeah. Okay, let's listen to it, because this is the first commercial surf record ever made for surfing. Me at 17 years old.
I could tell you like Little Richard as well. It's like,
He did. I've got vocals here somewhere.
you did the vocals.
Me, a couple of the guys. Nick Benet produced it. What do you think?
Amazing.
It's pretty good. Who's the first band to have ever covered it? The Beach Boys. The guys don't even know. I never told them I did that.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Anyway, that's
So you
gist.
you made this song. It was the first surf music.
I showed up
Yeah, you were part of it.
like Woody Allen in the movie Zelig.
Yeah.
He'd always show up and he'd be around, famous people at the turn of the century. Remember that movie? I love Woody Allen. Okay, so I just showed up and they're making not my idea. They're making what would become the very first commercial intended surf instrumental with voices. That's it.
Amazing.
And you found it
Amazing.
right like that.
That's amazing. So cool. Yeah, we could listen to everything.
Yeah.
The human foot is a true marvel of engineering. With 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles and tendons, it's built for flexibility, balance, and natural movement. Unfortunately, today's narrow, rigid, elevated shoes undermine this natural brilliance and weaken your feet. Vivo Barefoot shoes set your feet free. Feel every step. Move naturally. Allow your feet to function as nature intended with Vivo Barefoot. Thin, flexible soles to keep you connected to the ground. Wide toe boxes to let your toes spread and stabilize. Minimalist shoes designed to mimic the barefoot experience. Whether you're running, hiking, or just going about your day, Vivo Barefoot has you covered precisely when and where you need it most. Feel the vibration of the earth. Strengthen your feet. Improve your posture. Enhance your natural movement with Vivo Barefoot. Made from 100% recycled and natural materials, they are as healthy for the planet as they are for you. Experience the freedom of barefoot movement with the protection from the sharp edges of a man-made world. Natural movement for your feet, sustainable choices for our world. Learn more at vivobarefoot.com/tetra and embrace your human nature.
When did surf music first start having vocals? Because it was instrumental for a while.
What did you just hear just then?
I heard vocals.
Thank you.
Okay, what about lyrics?
Okay.
When did the lyrics come?
I was taking my surfboard out of my car, and I think I was, you know who Paramahansa Yogananda is,
Of course.
right? Okay, well, his place down where No Fear is, down in San Diego,
Yeah.
you know, so I was surfing there, and
Self-Realization Fellowship.
right, Self-Realization, the one down in San Diego, not
Yes.
the one in Palisades. So I was down there, and I don't know how I got the station on my radio. I was always messing around with radio because I was almost too far away to receive it because it was KFWB. Do you know KFWB?
No.
Okay. Oh, God. They played all the surf band stuff. It was KFWB, Channel 98, Color Radio. Okay, so, and then they had a KEWB and a KDWB, you know, one in Minneapolis and one in San Francisco. But this station became the top 40 station in LA, like something would be in New York City.
Yeah.
And so they played all the hits, but they also played Moondog, and it was a hit on KFWB.
Yeah. Now, the only place anyone's making surf music is here.
Oh, you're right.
We're talking about a tiny underground scene of music, yes?
Absolutely.
Tiny underground scene of music.
Now we're getting into the vocals.
Yeah.
So this is in the more official story.
Okay.
By the time I was 21, I was working on staff as a producer at Columbia Records.
Unbelievable.
You know,
How'd that happen?
Terry Meltzer just said, "Hey, I'm getting this job. You want to do it with me?" Okay, man.
How do you know Terry?
I met him because I should have brought pajamas. You know, this is a lot of talking. So I met Terry because Jan and Arnie and were signed to Doris Day's record label, R1 Records, by a guy named Joe, an English guy named Joe Lubin that claims he wrote, he's probably half right, Tutti Frutti. I doubt it, but I see it in print somehow. Maybe he straightened, I think they had to take Tutti Frutti's words and straighten them out so they were acceptable in the air, you know. Anyway, so I thought, I should just go down to where R1 Records is. Oh, it's in Beverly Hills. And Terry was probably 15, 16, and working, you know, going to school, going to Beverly Hills High School, but also, like my mom said, you have no character. I need you to just have a job after school. So the A's went to B's and the B's went to C, and I delivered liquor in the Palisades. Terry's the same thing. He's working in the Chevron gas station 2 blocks from their office building on Cannon Boulevard with the label happening. So he's always hanging around because people bringing music in. So that's how I met Terry. And we were instant friends. Anyway.
Was he as into music as you were?
You know, when Terry got his job at Columbia Records, they just, oh, he's Doris Day's son. They gave him a job. Really? You mean the guy who produced Turn, Turn, Turn and Tambourine Man? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Anyway, so we became really good friends, and we didn't have recording here. We just got together. He played pretty good piano. He would, do you know what a fake book is?
Yeah.
Okay. He was so tight with his mom. His mom, awesome. He had a fake book, and he'd sit at their piano, and they'd just sing songs together, and he'd play them. He'd play the chords.
Amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah.
By the way,
was she cool? Did you meet her?
She's so cool. When Terry and I had our little jobs at Columbia Records, she said, after you guys are off work, will you come over to my house? I want to play something. Okay. She was still signed to Columbia. She might have been 40. I'm not sure. Gorgeous. 59. She was.
And huge movie star at this time.
#1 box office draw in the world of female. Okay. So we go to her house, and she said, I want to play some music for you. And she plays us some Motown, especially Hitchhike by Marvin Gaye. And she says to us, this is the music that's going to take me out of the music business and off the radio. And it's really good, boys. I just want you to know that. So probably when my contract's up, I'm not going to re-sign.
Wow.
Isn't that a great story?
Amazing.
No one knows this stuff.
No, it's amazing.
You know.
And she was cool with it, and she sounds like she respected the music.
Well, you know, one of the reasons she's so cool with it, you've got to remember, she started it as a big record star, big band with Les Brown, you know, Sentimental Journey and all that stuff, and then started making movies with actors like Jack Carson. Ugh. Anyway, so she flipped over to movies, you know, and all of a sudden, here's your record income, here's your movie, and, you know, she was so successful, and I think she wasn't so worried about Motown ending her career because she hadn't even done a TV show yet. And she's just a great hang.
Yeah.
A great hang.
Great.
Okay, now let's get back to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So here's the story, the way it's been told to me. Back in those days, Rick, people got married really. Okay, we're getting married. We're out of college. You know, dumb idea. You know, dumb idea. Anyway, so Mike's married, has a little daughter, maybe two by then. And Dennis Wilson calls him up. Said, Mike, you got to come over to Brian's. Oh, wow, what's up? And Mike says that, oh, Mike is so funny. He said, those are the years that I was in the energy business, worked at a gas station. So I'm delivering liquor. You know, it doesn't matter whether my family had a lot of dough or not. My parents were smart enough to kick our ass, all of us. So we're all going. Okay, so Dennis calls up Mike. Come over to Brian's. You've got to come over to our house. They still live at home. Why? Well, I'm surfing, you know, in high school, and I'm hearing instrumentals, surfing instrumentals, and let's write a song with words about surfing. So Mike goes over there. He comes up with surfing.
So it was Dennis's idea.
Dennis's idea to get Mike and Brian together, cousins together.
Yeah, but to write a song about surfing.
Dennis he's the pre-Edison, okay,
because he heard the instrumental surfing music or with the backup vocals.
No, I bet he probably heard my Gamblers record. You know, I really haven't officially told the band yet that I did that.
Yeah, you've been in or associated with the band for 50 years?
No, longer than that.
Okay.
Since 1965.
I see.
So, as they say in
do
New
they
York,
still refer to you as the new guy?
well, not only do they still refer to me as a new guy, are you Brian? Are you Mike? And I go, well, if I had a step stool, I could be. Okay, back to the lyric.
Yeah.
So Mike goes over. Now I'm repeating Beach Boy history. I'm not a part of this. Yeah. Mike goes over to the Wilson's house and they start writing a song. And Brian was just so in love, of course, with the four freshmen, the harmony. Oh, God. So anyway, they start writing surfing, boom, dip, 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 surfing, boom, dip, dip, dip. And somehow in the middle of all that, Dave Marks isn't in the band. He's like 12 years old in the neighborhood. But Al Jardine had gone to junior college, was in junior college with Brian. And the Wilsons left enough money for everyone to eat and whatever, the parents, Audrey and Murray, and they go to Mexico City on a vacation. So the guys get together and they decide they want to record their song that Mike wrote and Brian. They were kind of running out of money. So the guys needed to rent some amps and instruments. So Mrs. Jardine, Carl had a guitar, volunteered. She said, okay, come over to my house and audition for me. And so to get the money to go and record Surfin' on Candix Records. And here's the song that they auditioned with. Talk about starting musically with the most difficult music you could ever do. So Brian taught Carl, Al, Mike, Brian, not Dennis, his four-part arrangements of the four freshmen singing Hearts Are Full of Spring a cappella.
Wow.
I know. I told Mike, I said, you know, after Carl passed away and I started singing his part, I said, that's probably the hardest vocal part I ever had to learn because it's whoo. I think, ooh, there's a story told of a very gentle boy and the girl who wore his ring. Okay, the reason I know it so well is I couldn't learn it. So I thought, okay, well, this is years later.
Yeah.
Whatever I was playing, I put it on repeat and went to sleep and woke up with it in my head.
Great.
So I
Yeah, sleep learning.
Carl, he'd learn it in 2 seconds because he wanted to go play baseball. So, okay, Brian, okay. And then go out and play baseball.
What's the first time you were ever in the room with the Beach Boys singing?
How about a better question? What's
Okay.
the first time I ever heard the band record?
Okay.
It didn't involve me.
Okay.
So this is around 64. Terry and I are still at Columbia Records. So
And at 64, you've already made a bunch of records.
I'd already had my second gold
By 64. Okay.
by 64, you know? And remember, we're talking right now about the lyrics. Okay?
Yes.
Just don't lose sight of that.
Yes, yes.
So the first time I ever heard the band record,
Yeah.
I walked in with Terry, and I'm one of those guys, I know where to be in the right place at the right time. I also know when to leave. I walked in, and Mike could have been in his own mic, but I kind of recall, let's show you how they recorded it.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I walked in, and let's pretend Mike's on his own mic, but I think he wasn't. So Dennis was even on this song. They're all recording around one mic. Yeah, no, Mike was probably on this mic. So Jardine is on a riser.
Yeah. To get all their mouths on the same line.
Exactly. Now I'm
Understood.
not, I'm not singing the band or anything. I'm just sitting there at Columbia Records copying all the surf and the car songs, and that was my second gold record was Hey Little Cobra. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that song.
Written by the girl and her brother who sang the lead in a half hour on the record I was supposed to play the piano on for Phil, To Know Him Is to Love Him. Annette Kleinbart.
Wow.
Carol Connors, who wrote the Rocky theme. This is a lot of
Unbelievable.
information. Can you
That's
handle all this?
unbelievable. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm good.
So here I am. You're me. You're over there.
Yeah.
Terry and I, we walk in, and Brian, on the other hand, he has to lower his height
I see.
to get equal.
I
I'm
see.
looking at this. Okay, and then I heard, windy, went wrong, oh so wrong, we went together. I hear that. I thought, perfect. So we stayed maybe half hour, if that.
Were you listening in the control room or in the room where they were singing?
No, I'm no fool. I walked into the room.
Yeah.
All
So
I
you're
hear-
in the live room and you're hearing them sing.
You asked about hearing them live.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying I heard them live record. I had heard them live backstage in other earlier times, but not when I
But
was
you
in the-
can't hear live always. And I imagine then there were no PAs or anything.
No, you had to have an imaginary ear go around to the front of the stage
Yeah.
so you could kind of hear what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first time, and fantastic song,
Yeah.
So
But the voices, did it blow you away? The blend? Did it?
I was asked by the Bee Gees to produce them, and I knew them really well. This is like 1972, 3, 4, around there. I said, I know I could write a hit for you guys, but I'm the wrong guy. What do you mean? You need to get somebody who doesn't write a lot of groovy, syrupy ballads. You guys need to step up your tempo. And that's right before all disco.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, so there we are. That's the first time I heard the band sing live while they were recording.
Yeah.
And the success lyrically, just locally, of surfing, bomb, dip, 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 it just started exploding. So Brian and Mike, the surf phase of the Beach Boys lasted at least 10 minutes. And it went girl surf, car school. It went on to all the activities, people that were just slightly younger than the band because they were kind of out of high school, just about, with those recordings. So what do you sing about? Well, what do you know? Well, high school. So that all happened. And so because of Dennis, lyrics began to arrive on the radio in the Beach Boys world. And then people covered them and everything. And then they went into the other genres of, as I said, girls, surf, car, school.
How many years of instrumental surf were there before that?
Not many.
3? 2?
I'm going to guess maybe 3.
Okay.
You know,
But at the time, would you assume this is an instrumental form of music?
absolutely. It never occurred to me anybody would write words about surfing.
Yeah. Why would you?
Why would you?
Because
You know?
and it worked. It was already a popular genre.
All those shows all over Southern California were sold out in terms of showing the movie. These guys would four-wall it. They'd have the woolen sack recorder, and they'd have a mic, and hey, and it was everything was sold out every weekend.
How many surfers were there at that point in time? Were there like millions of surfers?
Thousands.
Would you know most people? Like if you went out surfing, you'd know mostly everybody.
Oh, I'd know the stars.
Yeah.
And I was a wannabe that knew I never could, like Jack Benny and his violin.
Yeah, but it was
We're
fun.
going back 100 years now, Jack Benny and his violin. But it was fun.
Yeah.
And the girls were cute. And if we got cold, we'd just tear the wood off a classic, we didn't know it was classic, 48 Ford Woody and burn it to get warm.
Wow.
And one of the great things about my job, the job that I had in high school, I didn't like doing it, but I liked the results. The results were that every month I liberated, what's the cheapest vodka? I liberated it from the liquor store, and I would sell 10 of them. The 11th one, I would use it, 3 or 4 Saturdays in a row just to sprinkle a little alcohol on the rubber tires that we'd set on fire so we get warm. And then the other bottle was used for dating purposes. I'm not even 18 years old.
Amazing.
It's just, oh, God.
LMNT, LMNT Electrolytes. Have you ever felt dehydrated after an intense workout or a long day in the sun? Do you want to maximize your endurance and feel your best? Add LMNT Electrolytes to your daily routine. Perform better and sleep deeper. Improve your cognitive function. Experience an increase in steady energy with fewer headaches and fewer muscle cramps. LMNT Electrolytes. Drink it in the sauna. Refreshing flavors include grapefruit, citrus, watermelon, and chocolate salt. Formulated with the perfect balance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium to keep you hydrated and energized throughout the day. These minerals help conduct the electricity that powers your nervous system so you can perform at your very best. LMNT Electrolytes are sugar-free, keto-friendly, and great tasting. Minerals are the stuff of life. So visit drinklmnt.com/tetra and stay salty with LMNT Electrolytes. LMNT.
Who were the record companies back then?
Decca, RCA, Columbia, Epic. I mean, in California-wise,
Yeah.
there's always a lot of little independent labels. Might have one-hit wonders, but by the time the record labels figured out surfing, they'd have the astronauts. They'd have everybody that doesn't fit. They kind of ruined it quickly.
Yeah. Was there a Columbia Records office
it
in
used to be,
LA?
KNX was the radio station, and they had radio studios. And so they got converted into recording studios. And then in the balcony where they used to have audience in Studio A for radio, they stored all the masters until somebody said, we don't need the outtakes or the multi-track tapes, the 4-track tapes or the 3 tracks, eventually the 8. So they destroyed them. Thank you. All Terry did with the Birds, they just have the masters.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had the majors. Everybody couldn't wait to get to Capitol Records for the next 50 years to use their echo chambers. Well, the echo chambers that they used for Sinatra, the old KHJ radio studio became Capitol Records at the gates of Paramount Pictures. And Sinatra always had an audience. Probably people didn't know that. If 200 people, if all his pals and he'd record. And they'd use the echo over there for the albums that relaunched his career.
Wow.
And not the echo that they...
In the studio, he always had an audience.
Well, in the early days, I've Got You in My Skin, in the wee small hours of the morning, great stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but his drinking buddies hang out. You know, he was down to being $200,000 in back taxes, and he couldn't get anybody to sign him. And so Sam Weisbord, who was one of Al Jolson's agents when he was a kid, you know, eventually became chairman of William Morris. And so no one would sign him. And somehow they called Capitol Records. They said, Frank Sinatra, are you serious? How soon can you be here? And he got a 1 album deal. And eventually he inherited Nelson Riddle from Nat King Cole.
Wow.
And then they started just recording at Capitol in the old KHJ building, the radio studio building.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And back to that echo chamber thing, everybody's when hiring the echo chamber for 50 or 60 years, and none of the magic was ever recorded there.
At the
from
Capitol building,
list.
it's not there.
That wasn't there.
Had no idea. Amazing. Tell me the story of the Rip Chords.
Rip Chords, really cool story. So Terry couldn't get anybody to sign with him at Columbia because, Doris Day, what does he know? Managers would take someplace else. So he went to one of the guys that worked for his mom and had the record label, not Joe Lubin. He signs these 2 guys and calls them the Rip Chords. And he produces a song called Here I Stand. Here I stand at a lonely room, right? Okay. And it kind of charts. And Terry says, hey, Bruce, that thing I recorded? Yeah. They want to follow up. Do you want to work on it with me? I said, okay. So we co-produced a song that got to 40 called Gone by the Rip Chords. And then Terry said, I'll call David Kaperlik, who eventually managed Sly, Family Stones, and I'll just get you my job so we have it together at Columbia Records. And so we always would time our sessions so we could get to the Luau in Beverly Hills, that restaurant, the Luau, and in time to order dinner, 8:30. Anyways, one day I said, we're going tonight? He said, yeah, but we're going to meet Annette Kleinbard, who was the lead singer in high school on the recording of To Know Him Is to Love Him. And she was there. She's still around. She's out of her mind in the best possible. She's so cool.
Great.
Anyway, and she, as I said, she wrote the Rocky theme. And so she's there with her brother, and they bring Hey Little Cobra, a lead sheet, And so we made a lot of edits. We didn't rewrite the song. I mean, it was their song. And we start recording it. And eventually, a guy named Irving Townsend, who was VP of Columbia Records, the West Coast, all these guys are New York guys, and they're wonderful guys. He just said, fellas, you've spent too much money. You have to finish this by midnight tonight. So it's like 2 p.m. So we are copying Beach Boys stuff. That was our current job. So we just say, you guys, we're doing it in a style we know you don't know to do. We're going to put a couple voices on it for you. So we wound up singing without cell sync on 3-track. We did no cell sync. So we did about 10 over to, and we do Hey Little Cobra.
Wow.
Terry sings the lead.
Let's listen to it.
Rip Chords, Hey Little Cobra. That's just two voices, Terry and Bruce. Terry singing the lead.
Hey little cobra, don't you know you're gonna shut 'em down? I took my cobra down to the track, hitched to the back of my Cadillac. Everyone was there just a-waiting for me. There were plenty of stingrays and XKs. Spring little cobra getting ready to strike. Spring little cobra with all your
Shut 'em down.
little cobra getting ready to strike.
Shut 'em down.
don't you know you're gonna shut them down?
Okay, that's enough. What do you think?
It's fantastic.
That's just us.
fantastic.
Free trade. And then I said, Terry, I got a great idea. We always dressed pretty good, actually, going to Columbia Records, slacks, sometimes suits. So I had my coat off. Now this studio, you could eat off the floor, and it was huge. And a guy named Chappie, he was the head engineer of Columbia Records in the East Coast. He came out, was unbelievable engineer. So I said, I want to add something. Okay. I had the guy set the mic up, and I found a trash can this tall, Rubbermaid, and I put it over me with the microphone here.
Like a giant hat.
Yep, but down my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I went, shut them down.
Wow.
Shut them down. Shut them down.
It's like echo.
I like Pee Wee Herman trying to sing bass, So it just reverb. Like if someone sings in your ear, you hear it. He freaks out. I said, wow, this is perfect. I shut him down. Spring, little cobra, getting ready to shut him down. Yeah. So while I'm doing it, some of the coffee that's turned syrupy is dripping on my shoulder. I'm going, oh, shit. Anyway, so those are the stories that probably aren't interesting, but
that's fantastic.
It's a fun one.
It's
all
fantastic.
Right. So they send the record out, immediately starts getting plays, immediately. And so I said, Terry, those guys didn't sing the record. Maybe we should put our names on it. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. So he wound up, on my behalf, giving away any artist royalty on it. And it sold over 1 million copies.
Amazing.
Now that's the first production that I have a gold record for officially.
So cool. It's funny to ask you about the Beach Boys as if it's outside of you, but
that's perfect.
It's okay.
I'm the perfect guy to talk to.
Okay.
Because I'm in both places.
Okay. Were the Beach Boys a great live band?
You should hear it now. Even without Carl and Al. It's kind of like Doc Severinsen. Was he a great live band? Yes. All the arrangements, every note that we sing is written down. We could send it to schools.
Yeah. The shows were short then, yes, in the early days?
Songs were short.
Yeah.
But as far as the parts changing, no, the parts didn't change.
How did it work out that you were chosen to go to London to play Pet Sounds for the Beatles?
Well, there's this friend of mine, Zelig. I'm not shy. I know where to place myself.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about now May of 1966. Pet Sounds is released in America in mono, but unfortunately for Sinatra and the Beach Boys and other Nat King Cole, they invented something called duophonic, which just delayed one of the sides so they could sell it compatible with stereo recordings.
Wow.
So anything duophonic, just treat it like it's radioactive.
That's unbelievable.
It's so awful.
I didn't know about that.
Duophonic.
Yeah.
So I was so interested in everything. I had to know everything, so I followed everything. And I had heard that people like Keith Moon, who wanted to be in Jan and Dean or the Beach Boys, people in England were following us. Okay. So the first year I was in the band, I made 3 albums and toured. Now that's probably a lot, but not when you're 21, 22 years old. That's nothing. Okay, sure. And chased girls. Perfect. God, what a great job to have.
3 albums in the first year.
First year. And I didn't start recording until those albums till like May of 65. Brian had already recorded the tracks for Summer Days, Summer Nights that had California Girls in it. Okay.
Unbelievable.
And then somehow Capitol wanted something. So we slid in it's an accidental unplugged album called the Party Album. And in that album,
that has Barbara Ann.
Barbara Ann by
I
accident.
love that album.
Al Corey was like running the branch. Eventually he was president of RSO, Bee Gees. He was running the branch of Capitol in the Boston, New England area.
I knew Al Corey.
And Al was
What a character.
what a wonderful guy.
Amazing character.
And he, just for the hell of it, he just sent out some acetates. You know what an acetate is, right?
Yeah.
To radio stations. They started playing Barbara Ann. So they did an edit, and that Barbara Ann is probably bought Fred Fassard, who wrote the words and music. 4 white guys called the Regents from New Jersey. They probably bought him many houses.
Wow. How did you guys hear Barbara Ann?
Because it was a hit by the Regents
I see.
before there was a Beach Boys.
Okay.
It was a pretty good record.
Yeah.
Some new-
I only know the Beach Boys version.
Oh, you'd love it. Let's play it.
I love it. Anything you want to listen to, I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
Ba 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 Baran. Ba 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 Baran.
Okay, that's enough. So we sound just like them.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Isn't that cool?
Beach Boys.
That's Mike. Who's singing the lead? Brian Wilson and Dean Torrance.
Really? That's Brian and Dean.
Yeah. Singing the lead together. Falsetto, dueling falsettos. The whole song. You'll hear it right now.
So I thought I'd take a chance with Barbara Ann. Take my hand, you got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reading, Barbara Ann.
I think our record's better.
I love that record.
Isn't that good? Isn't that good?
I love that record.
Okay, so we had 2 weeks off, and it's not that I wasn't one of the Beach Boys, I just wasn't. But I was in the band recording.
Yeah.
Why would any of the band think, oh, well, Brian will be on the road soon?
Right.
And so I was just there.
Yeah,
Just
you were
there.
sitting in for Brian
Right,
for
sitting
the
in-
last 50 some odd years.
since 65. Okay, so, and that's cool. So Derek Taylor was our publicist. Now, there's a guy people think is wacky and crazy, and he's dead now. Kim Fowley. Have you ever heard of him?
Of course.
He's one of my great friends. I hate it when I read negative stuff, but he's so smart. His father was one of those B-movie 40 guys with the double-breasted suit gangster guy. And then when he got older and lost his teeth, he was one of, like, Gabby Hayes' guy on Petticoat Junction. How are you? So Kim Fowley was living in England, and Derek and I were talking. He said, Capitol Records released Pet Sounds. Now, it was going to be released soon in England, and
Derek was already the Beatles.
Beatles guy, now was our guy.
I see.
Eventually went back and he was Apple,
Yeah.
the Apple guy. And he got
So
one
he
of
moved
those-
to California.
He moved to
Derek.
California and went crazy. He's a smart guy. Had 5 kids. Went back to run Apple Corps in 68 and took one of those big Tahitian Hawaiian chairs, like a throne, from the Luau restaurant in Beverly Hills for his office right
Right.
there.
Right.
So we're talking. I said, Derek, could you give me some ideas what I could do in England? So he writes several pages explaining England and London. And he says, you know what you should do? Kim Fowler's over there. Said, I know that. He said, I'll pick the hotel. Why don't you go there and spend 7 or 8 days there and use the weekdays and just do some interviews. There's probably some interest in the Beach Boys. That's how it came apart.
Amazing.
So I wound up doing about 15 interviews a day,
Yeah. And as popular as the Beach Boys were here, they were both popular and seemingly more culturally significant there.
Well, yeah, America, got that hot water, God, showers in the bathroom, everything.
Yeah.
So people were really interested. So the album wasn't out, but Capitol Records, probably pre-release maybe. I think the international guys were a lot hipper to what to do than the American guys. I really do. Why do I say that? In the 7th week, of the release of Pet Sounds, Capitol decided to release the Best of the Beach Boys album, Volume 1.
That's insane.
7 weeks in.
It's insane.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like the Capitol was against you guys.
They were getting against us because all they wanted was the girls serve cars. They just
hits
wanted
of the
more.
past.
All they wanted was summer.
Yeah.
Instead, they get, I know perfectly well I'm not where I should be. Do you still believe in me? I want to cry. They get that instead of, you know. And so, you know, we're in the black, so they're not losing money, but they don't want to lose any more money in the future, so they put the best up. By the way, if you were a bottom line guy, that was probably a very smart move for a long time because it's almost up to 4 million albums. As far as our career and growth, Pet Sounds, that was the album. There it was. Week number 7, the very best of the Beach Boys. All promotion off of Pet Sounds. So I'm over there, 15 interviews a day. Keith Moon starts hanging out with me because he wants to be one of the Beach Boys. And this is my generation, right? So he's hanging out with me. And every day he brings about 5 uppers over. Now, you're talking to a guy who just doesn't do any of it. So every day he'd bring the speed over. And oh, thanks, man. Open the drawer. Every day. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. You know, I probably had 30 uppers by the time it was Saturday in my drawer. They're tank. Man. He was taking them every day. Anyway, so he said, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm finished now. You know, we did 15 interviews. He said, I got a TV show. You want to be on it? Sure. What's it called? He says, it's called Ready, Steady, Go. So he takes me over to Ready, Steady, Go. And we do a walk on and Benny King's on it. It's so cool. Wow. And we just hang out every night. So I get back to the hotel on Friday night after dinner with Keith Moon, and Kim's there. He said, he's in the lobby. He said, oh, man, I'm glad you're back. Why? John and Paul are waiting for you in your suite. They want to hear Pet Sounds. Mono. I had a record player. So they listened to it 2 times. They couldn't have been any cooler, and they were dressed in Edwardian suits, and one came in the rolls. I remember Paul gave me his number, and it started with the prefix Escher, right? And they were playing blackjack with 2 fans, 2 girl fans, you know, they'd gotten off after work and found out I was there. And it was really cool. So innocent in those days, God, except for the fact that Marianne Faithfull got rolled up in a rug, you know, when there was a raid on the house and they took her out. They took her out of it.
Wow.
So, yeah, she was. Whew. Okay, so anyway, here's how the Beatles saved the Beach Boys. They didn't know it, first of all. They freaked out. All they could talk about was Pet Sounds, and God only knows. And EMI totally got with it all over Europe, and they released it, bang, you know. And Stoop John B, 2 days after I left, it was number 8. It was next week that I left, it was number 5. So the Beatles inadvertently really saved the day. Like when you go bowling and it bowls down the gutter and you get to bowl again, you got a spare. They gave us a spare on Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that probably would have been gone as an album.
Wow.
In a world of artificial highs and harsh stimulants, there is something different, something clean, something precise. Athletic nicotine. Not the primitive products found behind convenience store counters. Not the aggressive buzz that leaves you jittery, but a careful calibration of clean energy and focused clarity. Athletic nicotine. The lowest dose tobacco-free nicotine available, made entirely in the USA. No artificial sweetener, just pure, purposeful elevation. Athletic nicotine is a performance nootropic. Athletic nicotine is a tool for shifting mindsets. Athletic nicotine is a partner in pursuit of excellence. Slow release, low dose, gradual lift, sustained energy, soft landing, inspired results. Athletic nicotine, more focus, less static. Athletic nicotine, more clarity, less noise. Athletic Nicotine. More accuracy, less anxiety. Athletic Nicotine. From top athletes pushing their limits to artists pursuing their vision, Athletic Nicotine offers the lift you've been looking for. Learn more at athleticnicotine.com/tetra and experience next-level performance with Athletic Nicotine.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Were you there for the recording of God Only Knows?
I was dating this girl, and I called Terry up, and I called her. This is a girl, Terry, and I said, do you mind if on the way to dinner, if we stop in Hollywood? What do you want to do? You know, I just got back from Japan, and Carl said, you got to come to these sessions. The tracks he's making. This is before it was called Pet Sounds. And I walked in with Terry on our way to go to Beverly Hills to go to the Luau for dinner. I walk in, and Brian's recording God Only Knows. I'm listening. Well, wait a minute. This is really cool. Because Brian starts with the first verse with the 5 on the bottom. So there's do 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 do. Usually goes da, but he's do 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 do. I may not always love you. Okay, the bass note starts with the 5. I went, what? And there's like a few string players over in the corner. In those days, Rick, we had this wonderful thing called leakage. Now we were up to 4-track, by the way. But we had leakage, you know, and Hal Blaine would be the guy who'd run all the sessions. Terry and I stayed for about an hour, and I got it, and I thought, always know when it's time to leave. Carl was in the booth with Brian. Brian's best friend was Carl. So I went to dinner, and, okay, this is before Pet Sounds release, recording this stuff. So Brian just assigned us note after note, part after part after part. We just sometimes I just wasn't made for these times. We had everybody, including me. We had Dennis. We had 6 vocal parts. And if you listen to I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, part of it's in Spanish.
Wow.
In Spanish, in the chorus. So we make this beautiful album. And Brian and I had a sing-off, though. I don't know if you'd remember. On Sloop John B., which wasn't its destiny at that point to go on Pet Sounds. It should have gone on the California Girls album called Summer Days and Summer Nights. So it was just sitting there. Capitol said, we don't hear any hits, we don't think. Wouldn't it be nice? God only knows. So, okay, sure, nice. So they talked Brian into putting Sloop John B., which has nothing to do with Pet Sounds. You know, it's a beautiful recording. Everybody treasures it and loves it. And so during the recording of that, I talked Brian into writing a higher vocal note. And he couldn't reach it. Like, right here, he says, woo! He said, I can't sing that high. Why don't you do it? Me? Yeah. So that's the only time I interfered. But it's just a technicality because it wasn't destined to be, as I later found out I was wrong, on Pet Sounds. It wasn't done in the spirit of Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell me the story of the studio session for Barbara Ann.
Well, the Barbara Ann studio is just the Barbara Ann studio. One night we had all the girlfriends' wives would have come over and make it sound like a party. And we had potato chips, crunch, 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 crunch. Yeah. But we inadvertently had made an unplugged album, you know. I even played bass on a lot of it. Lucky me. The day I officially got in the music business for real was my first demo. I saved up enough money to hire what would be in the future the Barbara Ann studio, using the engineer that became Brian's engineer, Chuck Britz. When I made this demo, I was in love with my voice, and it so sucked. The song was terrible. And I sidebar to the sidebar. And I took the demo to Specialty Records because I love Little Richard. And I played it for their A&R guy there, and he had, you know, pocket pen protector or whatever it is, and short sleeve shirt. He listened to it and he said, you know, this is not what we're looking for right now, but Bruce, if you really get excited about something, could you come back and play it for us? Who was the A&R man? Sonny Bono.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Is that not a cool story?
So cool.
Okay, so back to the first day in the Barbara Ann studio, in the music business. You know, I was playing in high school.
Is this pre-Sonny and Cher?
Oh yeah, this is Sonny, but that was his job. He was an A&R guy. He wasn't down at Cosmos Studio where he should have been in New Orleans with Earl Palmer on drums playing a Ghost foot pedal and Richard singing wop, bop, bop, bop. You know, it was owned by Art Root, and it was up on just beyond where the crescendo was towards Hollywood, about 4 or 5 doors, Specialty Records office, then the studio. But they didn't cut any hits there. They cut them in New Orleans at Cosmos. It's still there. Okay, so the first day, I'm making my demo of this horrible song. There's a guy, black guy, dressed pretty cool actually, and I saw him drive in a 4-door 1956, like a Coupe de Ville 4-door. No such thing. Well, I don't know what they call it. It's some kind of a Fleetwood. It was great. Had a diamond pinky ring and a white tie and a white shirt, and he owned this thing that we all listened to. We listened to Huggy Boy on the radio here from the whitest guy ever down in the middle of Watts, broadcasting from Dolphins of Hollywood. You can look him under John Dolphin. He had record labels. He had everything. And I had the chancellor's daughter of UCLA, my friend girl from high school, Barbara Allen, remember that. So he said, here's my card. Why don't you bring your acetate down when you're finished? So we went down there and the door was locked and there was a black guy, Percy Anderson Ivy. He was muttering and pissed off. He was, no, he's in here. You know, just all the Southern dialect white guys never heard before. I went, woo. He said, John, you owes me money. It's like watching a video Stagger Lee. And he goes, no, I don't. And so the next thing I see and hear is that guy shoots him 5 times in front of me when I was 17. Bang, 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 bang.
Shoots Dolphin.
Kills him.
Kills it.
And he falls on the heater and turns the heater on. It smells like crap in there. And so one of the guys in my band who is now first chair flautist with the LA Philharmonic, he's in high school with me, played tenor sax, and he gets grazed by a bullet. Everyone else runs out except me. So I stay there and I see Dolphins foaming at the mouth, dead, 17 years old. Wait a minute. No, I'm 15 years old. Excuse me.
Wow.
I'm 15. This is February 1st, 1958.
Wow.
I'm still 15 years old. Okay.
So you just watched a guy get murdered in front of you.
No.
On your first day in the music business.
First day in the music business. Because of Barbara Ann's chancellor, Raymond Allen of UCLA, we kept about 99% of it out of the paper. We put it on, over there in the ocean. So
the story didn't come out.
Just totally buried.
Yeah.
So that was my very first day in the music business.
That day you knew this is for me.
No, it took 2 more years. And then in that time period, I was in Sandy Nelson's little band and Spector was in it. And I listened to his chorus and I went, oh my God.
What was he like? Same age? You were same age?
No, he's probably a year, 2 years older than me. He's very eccentric.
Same school or a different school?
Like Herb Alpert and those guys, they went to, and Annette Kleinbord, they went to Fairfax, and he was just eccentric. And, the title of his song, To Know Him Is to Love Him, that's the epitaph on his father's gravestone. That's how he got that. Okay, so that's how I got my start. And then I, working up to Beach Boys, our band that we put together took the place of the house band for Art Laboe because they had shows at Long Beach Municipal Auditorium, they had shows at Pasadena Civic and El Monte Legion Stadium.
You had to tell me about Art Laboe, too.
Well, Art Laboe, he was just a great promoter. He promoted himself right into being one of the writers of the song I wrote.
As was what was happening in those days.
Of course.
That's not an unusual story.
Oh, I know. So Larry Knechtel was the keyboard player and Mike Browning was the drummer. And they got hired to join Duane Eddy's band. So Larry, who became one of the members of Bread, and also got a Grammy for arranging with Jimmy Haskell, Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's him playing the piano.
Amazing.
The first half with art. So everybody does something. If you hang around long enough, something groovy happens.
Yeah.
So we get in this band. Spector's gone. He actually has moved to New York, for a few months, and under the wing of Lieber and Stoller, who are LA guys that went to LA City College, and they're the guys who wrote Smokey Joe's Cafe long before the two Robins went to New York and became the Coasters.
They wrote for Elvis as well.
Well, they wrote Loving You. I will spend my whole life through. They also wrote for Big Mama Thornton.
Wow.
He recorded this with Johnny Otis, like around 52, 51. You nothing but a hound dog. That was her original recording. And when she met these two white Jewish guys, Lieber and Stoller, with the song, she almost beat him up. She was about 6 feet up. You get out. And Johnny Otis said, now, Mama, you got to listen to this. Mama, could settle down. All that stuff's going on. Johnny Otis is on TV, by the way. Local TV for 2 years. So I see James Brown in 57, 58 on his TV show, like first round of hits, Please, Please, Please. And
was that another mind-blowing? Like James Brown must have been insane the first time you saw it.
Well, I saw him, the first time I saw him live was 61 at the Paramount Theater with an 18-piece big band, and he would play organ in it and do all kinds of things, and his steps, and he had his valet, and he'd throw it off and run back out. And 3 high school girls called the Bluebells were his background troupe. Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. I saw them.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I had the curiosity you had as a young guy for what was going on. I was everywhere. I was in Watts. I was, again, whiter than Pat Boone. But it was safe then. No one gave me any crap. So all this stuff's going on around me, and somehow I'm learning how to surf, and I'm going to the surf movies, and I'm listening to Richard, I'm listening to Sinatra, just all this cool stuff's happening, just influencing me. I would say, I Only Have Eyes for You, as I said earlier, that's like the verses are in doo-wop, and the choruses are, but I only have you. Major difference. Eyes for you. Do what you want. I thought, okay,
Let's listen to it. We got to listen to it.
Okay.
Got to listen to it.
This is the original.
Be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you. Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright.
Here comes the major 7th. And there's falsetto on this record, by the way. Back to doo-wop slow dancing.
The moon may be high, but I can't see a thing in the sky. I only have eyes for
Falsetto like Brian.
Yes.
I don't know if we're in a garden.
Recorded track and everything in 3 hours and voices. New York.
Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear.
Check the falsetto coming up now.
And I only have eyes for you.
Isn't that a piece of work?
It's unbelievable.
It's like a symphony to me.
Yeah, fantastic. What do you think that the Shabop Shabop vocals, do you think that that was because they didn't have horns? So it's
No.
like doing a horn part?
No.
What do you think it was?
It almost sounds like Do What You Want or Shuvop Shuvop. You know, it's just what they did. Terry Johnston, who's still around, if you ever see a picture of the Coasters, he's the guy with the Les Paul guitar. He did that whole arrangement. And they just went in and recorded it. 3 hours, front to back, and the mix. Bang. But that's very elegant.
Yeah.
I could have you play part of a song that kind of kept me in the music business.
Yeah.
Okay. Just play a little piece of I'm Not in Love by 10cc.
Okay.
Everybody recorded every note they could record on a separate track, and all the voices are mixed this way. Great song too. You know the song? Just listen to it. Recorded at Orange Studios in Manchester, England.
I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through.
So there's a song there being sung, besides all that stuff.
I call you up.
Just a little more.
Don't get me wrong. Don't think you got it made.
Written by Graham Gould.
I'm not in love. No, no. It's I'd like to see you.
The whole thing's great. Now, you don't have to listen to the whole thing. I just want you to see what I did.
It's amazing.
That kind of kept me going.
Yeah. I write the songs.
I'm on the freeway in my Porsche because I could afford it. I'm listening to the radio. I hear joy to the world, joy to the... Okay, cute song. And then I hear, I believe in music. And then I hear, oh, girl, Lobo. I want you to want me. Woo! And I'm thinking to myself, I can't spell it, but I think it's happening. Epiphany.
Yeah.
And I go, I should write a song about where music comes from.
Great.
I always like startling words. Like I've done a lot of Elton John's recording.
Wow.
I always like working with Elton because Bernie's lyrics are just so whacked out and wonderful. So I always think, well, you got to have a really interesting first line. So I went, intro, I've been alive forever, and I wrote the very first song. Now, if you can't catch him with that, you might as well not finish the song.
It's a good opening line.
It's kind of like, pretend I'm interviewing God.
Yeah.
And I go, so God, tell me about yourself. Well, okay,
I've been alive forever.
I've been alive forever. I wrote the very first song, put the words and melodies together on music, and I write the songs. Hey!
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Yeah. It's ultimately a devotional song.
Kind of.
It is. You just told me the story, and I'm telling you, you might not know it.
Well,
it's a devotional song.
It is, but but I kind of never told Barry what it was really about. I said, well, it's just about the spirit of music, Barry, because I know he would have loved it. And finally, after he waited a year before he called Clive back, when I was at Columbia Records, Clive was one of the guys I worked with in the business department.
Wow.
So when he called Clive back, he says, okay, even though I think people are going to think I'm conceited, I get it, I hear it. He put about 85 key changes and he put every trick he knew, and it actually worked. And then 3 years ago, he called me up and said, I want you to listen to my live version. So he had a live version with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at some venue that had 18,000 people in England. And it would shock you if you think the record was good. It's just all over. It's all over. It's called Live in London.
Let's listen to it.
Okay.
Let's listen to it.
That's it. Wait till you hear them sing it. Them sing it. Then I'll tell you the arrangement story.
I've been alive forever, and I wrote the very first song. I put the words and the melodies together. I am music, and I write the songs. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs, I write the songs. My home lies deep within you, and I've got my own place in your soul. Now when I look out through your eyes, I'm young again, even though I'm very... Come on, sing this one with us. Come on, let me hear you. Ready? I write the songs that make the whole
18,000 people.
Amazing.
Nice. I write the songs that make me young. I write the songs. Great, great. Oh, my music makes you dance and gives you spirit to take a chance. And I wrote some rock and roll so you can move. Music fills your heart. Well, that's a real fine place to start. It's for me, it's for you, it's from you, it's for me. It's a worldwide symphony. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs, I write the songs. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs, I write the songs. Listen to the music. I am music, and I write the songs. And I write the songs. And I write the songs.
Keep listening. Cool, huh?
Amazing.
That's so when I called Barry back, I said, Barry, where did you get that arrangement? He said, are you kidding? Really, Bruce? It's your arrangement. I said, how could it be my arrangement? He said, you know the recording you made with I Write the Songs with David Cassidy? It was top 10, top 11, something in England. He said, I just copied that arrangement. Oh, because I did the arrangement. I said, okay, cool.
No wonder it sounded good. Tell me about the intro to the song.
Intro?
The chords before it goes into the ballad.
I call that the doorbell. Or
It's the signature of the song.
no, just get your
Lets
ear
you know
over
we're
to my,
here.
Pay attention to my song on the radio. That's why that's there.
Yeah.
And then after that intro, then there's the engaging lyrics. I've been alive forever. Here, I'll turn your piano and I'll play
please.
you something I just wrote for
Please.
Barry. Not a new song. I wrote him a new intro.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You might like this. So it goes. Now the melody is, the chorus is, right? So I put it in the intro.
Beautiful.
Isn't that cool?
So beautiful. I'm going to name some names. Tell me stories about the people. Tony Asher.
He's the sweetest, nicest guy. He was a copywriter at an advertising agency. Somehow he met Brian and they were talking about writing. And we Beach Boys were in Japan for 2 or 3 weeks. And so Tony and Brian started writing Pet Sounds. Is Mike Love capable of writing Pet Sounds? Absolutely. Did you ever hear Mike's song called The Warmth of the Sun?
Yeah, that's Mike's song.
He wrote the words.
I love that song.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorite Beach Boys
That's my favorite
songs.
Beach Boys song ever
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's listen to Warmth of the Sun. We got to listen to Warmth of the Sun.
Oh, man.
Gotta. Come on.
That's the best recording and the best song they ever wrote together. That's why I knew he was right for Pet Sounds. He's very hurt by that, by the way.
What good is the dawn that grows into day? The sunset at night, or living this way. For I am the warmth of the sun within me at night. The love of my life
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's it for me.
Breathtaking.
Somehow, Brian would talk to Carl every night in Japan and tell him what he was doing. But he was doing what he usually did with Mike, but with Tony, and he was just working with Tony.
Yeah.
What do I think of Tony? Yeah. Who do I think it should have been? Because I'm kind of loyal to Lennon and McCartney or Rodgers and Hammerstein,
Yeah.
Mike and Brian.
So much of today's life happens on the web. Squarespace is your home base for building your dream presence in an online world. Designing a website is easy, using one of Squarespace's best-in-class templates. With the built-in style kit, you can change fonts, imagery, margins, and menus, so your design will be perfectly tailored to your needs. Discover unbreakable creativity with Fluid Engine, a highly intuitive drag-and-drop editor. No coding or technical experience is required. Understand your site's performance with in-depth website analytics tools. Squarespace has everything you need to succeed online. Create a blog, monetize a newsletter, make a marketing portfolio, launch an online store. The Squarespace app helps you run your business from anywhere. Track inventory and connect with customers while you're on the go. Whether you're just starting out or already managing a successful brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create and customize a beautiful website. Visit squarespace.com/Tetra and get started today.
What are the inner band politics like, and how have they changed over the years?
That's just like these leaves blowing. They just change. They just happen. Nobody does anything mean-spirited.
Yeah.
I just think Mike, never knowing that was on the horizon,
Yeah.
Brian should have offered it to his cousin first.
Yeah.
Just of the strength of warmth of the sun.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect.
Yeah. Did you know Gary Usher?
Very well. He was kind of like a threat to Murray Wilson in terms of his writing and everything. And he was a real ambitious guy that, as ambitious as the dad was. So that got in the way. What do I think of him? He's a great guy. How could I not like someone who wrote In My Room?
Yeah.
What a great song.
Great
between
song.
Brian and Gary.
Great song.
So he was an A&R guy. He was there. He worked on staff at Capitol. He did everything. He was a good survivor, and he died way too young.
Mm-hmm. Jack Nietzsche.
Jack was fantastic. Fantastic arrangement. Every place, everything he did.
Did you ever get to work with him?
Not really. I spent a lot of time with him, more because of his wife. She's a singer. She's so cool. And she said, "Terry, Bruce, you've got to come here tonight. You're at Laurel Canyon someplace." And she said, "You've got to listen to this guy's songs." Freewheeling album, Bob Dylan.
Wow.
And Grace she said, "This guy's going to change the way people write songs." And she was so right.
Yeah.
And that was Jack Nietzsche's wife. Probably nobody knows she did that.
Amazing.
To a lot of us.
Van Dyke Parks.
He's not someone to dislike. He's too sweet. He's like Kurt Betcher. He's too nice. But I know that he admitted to Mike Love with some of his lyrics, he didn't know what they mean, but they sound great.
Okay.
What can I say? He's a very clever guy. But I really think he took Brian off the path a little bit, myself.
Sagittarius, My World Fell Down.
Well, I actually walked out of the session. Gary Usher produced it. We did it at Columbia Records. Glenn Campbell sang on it. And some of the people singing on with me were singing flat, and I couldn't get them to sing on key to my standard. So I sang it and just left. And people love it. And I listened to it, and something just says, this is wrong.
Wow.
The pitch.
Yeah.
The pitch.
Do you have perfect pitch?
Luckily, I don't.
Yeah.
You don't want perfect pitch.
But you can hear
I
when
can
it's
hear
attitude.
pitch.
Yeah.
Perfect pitch is something that for people who listen to radio stations that sped their records up so they could get them over faster to sell more time.
Yeah.
And so you'd hear stuff and you'd go, oh, yeah.
Lou Adler.
Lou, I think Lou was born cool.
Yeah.
As he got older and older and older, he got above the 100% mark for being cool without trying. He's great. Now he's 90 years old. I saw a picture of him someplace with Herbie. Herb Alpert and Lou were partners and they managed Jan and Dean. And when they broke up, Lou took the management and right thing to do. What do you think Herb took? The Ampex 601 dash.
The
something.
tape machine?
Yeah, the tape machine. And went down, I'm told, to Mexico where they had the bullfights and recorded all the oles. And then he had a studio in his garage and started and recorded Lonely Bull.
Worked out okay.
When I was at Columbia Records, Jerry Moss in 63 used to come to my office working for a publisher and play me songs.
Amazing.
And Herbie and I, it's not that I didn't have any money. It doesn't matter when you're young.
Yeah.
It's just, money, what? You know, girls, hey. I used to do a few sessions with him and we got $10 a song. I'd play keyboard, he'd play trumpet in like Sunset Sound or one of those studios. It's great.
Amazing. Who were the Sleepwalkers?
It might have been me. I don't know. I think Kim Fowley named whatever I was doing as the Sleepwalkers. That's all I know.
And was there a band before that, the Barons?
Oh, that was Jan Berry and Dean Torrance's High Y, like YMCA, High Y club name of their rough and tough guys club at University High School called the Barons. Jackets, everything. The Tiers was girls club, Nancy Sinatra's club.
Wow. Cool. Mike Curb.
Fantastic guy. Just a real straight Presbyterian kind of businessman. Loved music, but had to put a lot of stuff together. And now he still has the biggest in America independent label in
Really?
Curb Records in
Wow.
tons of hits
Wow.
in Nashville. Great guy. Great guy.
Are the Beach Boys the longest existing band in history?
Maybe still living-ish.
Yeah.
Brian
I mean,
May, Al.
Stones were after.
Yeah, that's good. Most people don't realize that. Stones were after.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to read you something.
Okay.
A friend of mine was, one of the biggest stations in America was WMMS in Cleveland. Bruce Springsteen would be at the Coliseum. The Beach Boys would be at Blossom. Laura Branigan would be at Sold. We'd all be sold out in the same night, promoted by the same station. That's how big they were.
Wow.
So Walter Taberski sends me this. He says, "Thanks, Bruce. I'll always be grateful to you for your longtime support, encouragement, and guidance during my hazy, crazy radio days." Walter's program director. I wrote Walter a letter. I think I was writing myself. I went, "Walter, we all grow in our careers as we age, and my personal focus is to continue reaching out to humanity via songs I write, to share how I view life, and hopefully my messages will resonate with other agreeable souls. I am always a positive person, and I hope my songs reflect that. Walter, no retirement for me, even if I'm on my back. I'll use sign language if that's what it takes to deliver my message of hope, love, romance, loyalty, keeping the world's environmental issues center stage if corrections are needed." Parentheses. I'm one of the founders. "I use the Surfrider Foundation to deal with all the ocean pollution problems plaguing the planet and a jillion other thoughts I have about living." Just saying, Bruce.
Beautiful.
I just kind of sent that to him out of the blue.
Beautiful. Tell me the story of Surf Riders.
Ha! It's really cool. There's a lot of guys that got famous in surfing in those days. So I know all these guys, and they said, "You know, we're working on what?" We want to call this thing the Surfrider Foundation. Well, let me be part of it. Oh, sure you're in. So in 84, we wound up having the Surfrider Foundation or surfrider.org. And so you go to the beach and the little kid's there and he's looking at a Coke can and we say, well, if you don't dispose of this properly, and we'll show you how to do it, it'll be there 350 years. And we go through the plastic, we do that. So, I don't know, we had us, we were the kind of the members. Anyway, guess how many members, nonprofit, we have? We have 200 chapters and 1 million members.
Wow.
Surfrider.org.
Wow.
So
I heard a story that when Richard Branson started his new label, V2, there was a rumor that he was going to sign the Beach Boys, and there was an idea to like get back to the creative.
Okay, so we had the most amazing deal with Branson.
Yeah.
And we would be the first artists.
Yeah.
A long time ago. So everyone was for it, except Brian's wife. And he said, great idea, we should do it. But first, Brian has to have a solo album or we're not signing. Deal's gone.
Wow.
Not that everybody needed money, but, you know, there's plenty of advance and budget.
Yeah. But it also seemed like a creative breath of new life.
Well,
from someone who wanted something great from the Beach Boys instead of what your experience with Capital.
You're exactly right. But I don't want to, she just passed away in the last 2 or 3 months. But she just said, oh, sure, great idea. But first Brian has to have his own album. And he said, okay, well, of course we'll make here's the budget for Brian's album. But first we have to do the Beach Boys. She said, no, it has to be Brian. Goodbye. Bang, gone.
Yeah. Tell me about Brian. Would you say you know him well?
I don't think so. I observed him well.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
When you read our book, you'll learn more about the band as I learned more about the band.
Yeah.
You know, I read all the rough drafts and everything.
Yes.
It's totally written from Beach Boys. It's not ghostwriters or anything. You know, things on file that Carl, because he's not alive.
Yeah.
You know, Brian kind of got captured by a lot of people. Probably thinking, oh, we can work with them. This is really great. I remember kind of later in the Pet Sound sessions, people say after 8:30 would start bringing pills and things. You know, with the sales thing on Brian, hey, this is going to really give you more depth to your creativity. Just all the wrong people brought all the wrong stuff.
I see.
So did I know Brian? I knew Brian more like the sun coming out in Great Britain because it's so cloudy. You get glimpses of the sun, you know. One fun glimpse, though. We did the Beach Boys' 50th anniversary. And we were at one of those TV shows that just sell clothing, sell TV, sell everything, right? And I think we sold, like that night, we sold 30,000 albums just by going out and playing a song. That's pretty good. And while Brian was sitting around, we were just kind of talking with him. He's kind of being okay. And he said, I had a couple top 5 records that year. What year? Oh, in 64 and into 65. I also had a number 1 record here. He started going over all his hits, just talking to us. I thought, is this guy waking up, being healthy? He just was talking about it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's probably the last time he was really Brian. I don't know what his demons were or are. I don't know how much his medication helped him or preserved him or harmed him.
As a songwriter, looking at Brian's songs, how would you say his songwriting changed from the earliest days along the way?
I think the Beach Boys ended on that level with Brian maybe stepped out, but stepping back in. with the recording of Till I Die. Have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, play it right now.
Okay.
I think that's the last Brian Wilson brilliant thing. And he happened to write the lyrics. The last time he wrote the lyrics was Surfer Girl, and then Mike wrote everything else. Till I Die on the Surf's Up album.
Great.
It's so revealing. It's fantastic. Listen to his harmony. We're singing harmony.
I'm a cork on the ocean, floating over the raging sea. How deep is the ocean? How deep is the ocean? I lost my way. Hey, hey, I'm a rock in a landslide, rolling over the mountainside. How deep is the valley? How deep is the valley? Oh, it kills my soul. Hey, hey, I'm a leaf on a windy day. Pretty soon I'll be blown away. How long will the wind blow? How long will the wind blow? Until I die. These things I'll be 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 until I die.
What do you think?
Heavy.
That's the last time I heard Brian be a real Brian.
He wrote the words too? Wow.
All the
Heavy.
words, you know.
Heavy
It's like,
song.
I wanted to give him some kind of a psychological PhD for that one.
Beautiful.
He just put his insides on the table and just sang about them.
Yeah.
His inside thoughts.
Very beautiful.
That's just me talking. Anything is me. I don't speak for the band.
Yeah. No, of course.
I'm the inside outside
Of
USA
course.
guy.
Tetragrammaton is a podcast. Tetragrammaton is a website. Tetragrammaton is a whole world of knowledge.
What may fall within the sphere of Tetragrammaton? Counterculture? Tetragrammaton. Sacred geometry? Tetragrammaton. The avant-garde? Tetragrammaton. Generative art? Tetragrammaton. The tarot? Tetragrammaton. Out-of-print music? Tetragrammaton. Biodynamics? Tetragrammaton. Graphic design? Tetragrammaton. Mythology and magic? Tetragrammaton. Obscure film? Tetragrammaton. Beach culture? Tetragrammaton. Esoteric lectures? Tetragrammaton. Off-the-grid living? Tetragrammaton. Alt spirituality? Tetragrammaton. The canon of fine objects? Tetragrammaton. Muscle cars? Tetragrammaton. Ancient wisdom for a new age. Upon entering, experience the artwork of the day. Take a breath and see where you are drawn.